Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Carrots Project podcast. Today, we're at episode 9 of the Matrix Reloaded, the attempt to take out Trump. We've got a couple of guests with us. We've got George. Whoop, we just lost George. We got Brady, aka the War Hamster, and the Ghost of Base Patrick Henry, and George Balloutine. Coast of the Big Big. And I'll let you guys talk a little bit about yourselves because I'm a little tongue tied at the moment. So if you guys want to just kind of go around and tell a little bit about yourself before we start diving into this stuff.
Well, let the loud New York guy go first because that sets a good tone.
Are you talking about the kid to the left of me?
Are you talking to me?
What's up, everybody? I'm George Balloutine. I'm the producer and co-host of The Big Mig Show. You can find us on Rumble. You can find us everywhere. I'm from North New Jersey, like 10 minutes from the city. And yeah, I could be loud sometimes, but I could sit in the darkness and watch and creep on you. So be careful. Antifa. Bastards.
What's up, Gordon?
What's up, guys? I'm Gordon. I live in Virginia, and I am a writer and host on Badlands Media. History and geopolitics is kind of my thing.
Cool. Well, both of these guys are personal friends of mine. I'm Brady. Spent most of my adult life in San Diego, but they kicked me out because I was something. And now I'm up in New Hampshire. I'm also known as the War Hamster in some places. And I talk about all kinds of stuff, especially the Constitution and the deep, dark history of our country and the CIA and all kinds of related things. Dale, our host, was nice enough to invite me on. I said, hey, I got a couple buddies. It'd be great to talk to because tonight is a really dark day in our country's history. They tried to kill FPOTUS, the FPOTUS, which is the former and future president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And, it's like, my parents will tell me exactly where they were when JFK got shot. And I'll tell you where I was today. Well, pretty much where I'm sitting right now, but I'll never forget it. Dale, take it away.
Yeah, this is one of these moments where you're going to remember where you were at this point in time. And this is kind of, for me, like watching the J6 event, knowing that this was 100% preventable and so forth. So, let's just go back to watching this. I remember I was sitting down with my family, and then I saw this on the stream, and I was on the feed, and I was like, what? And Trump got shot. I was like, what? So I went and took a look at it. So let's look at this now. Okay, let's bring this up.
And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Move his hair. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go. Up. Hawkeye's here. You ready?
Okay, we are watching live at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, where former President Trump was speaking on the stage.
So just thoughts from people when you saw this. I was just like, what the hell? I was like, did they kill him? Right? Because I saw him grab his ear, right? I don't know if any of you guys watched, the Kennedy assassination. He did something similar to that.
Yeah, it looked like he was swatting. It looked like he was swatting mosquitoes. The first thing, he was like, and then apparently not. It was a big mosquito.
Oh yeah, he realized that he got shot, right? And then they dropped him down and so forth. And I mean, I could only imagine what was going through his head at that point in time. Like that's insane. Yeah. Anybody else's thoughts on this?
I gotta say, I mean, I just happened to catch it. I just got home, sat down, put the TV on, and I was like, "What?" But I'm gonna say the response from the Secret Service. Usually, they're fast enough to get them out. You know, as soon as the first shots, they're coming, and they didn't go there that fast. But
Yeah.
Even when they took him off stage, Trump wanted to get his shoes. No, you don't. You just get him the freak out of there. You don't let it stand there. You get him out of the scene in that car. Even when he got him in the SUV, they were still sitting in the SUV. They're supposed to be taken off, gone. So it just like from just that point right there, it stinks. And then when you find out all the other data, what's going on, this should have been preventable. Should have never happened.
Yeah, like I mean, when I began to look at some of the stuff here, let me see which one's here. I'll pull it up here. We'll see him. We'll look at this one here, which was kind of pretty courageous of him, even though they probably should not have let him do this. But he
You're
did it.
going to pull up the fist pump, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's just such an that shot is going to be seen for the next 100 years.
Yes.
I haven't seen this yet.
Like they should have right then and there. He should have been gone off stage.
Yeah.
Well, Trump's a big dude, so they're not
It doesn't matter, bro. You got 6, 7 guys. You take his ass out. They know what to do.
Yeah.
There's ways you can grab a person to make them walk and move. You just
there is.
Yeah, that was kind of my initial thought too. I wasn't watching live. I was I was giving my kids a bath. I have young kids, and my cousin. We have like a group text in my family of like the people who are Trump supporters, and my cousin texted us and said they just shot Trump in the head, and I was like, "What?" Like I thought she was kidding, and then of course I went to I put my phone out and checked just social media, and I saw like the images of like blood on his face. So like by the time I went and watched the original video, I already like knew he was okay or he was alive. And that was my first thought too, was that when that first shot rang out, it felt like it took forever for the Secret Service to get to him. And then it was a little strange how he like stood up and fist pumped and like they let him do that. Like that definitely felt a little odd. But that image, which like the image from below with the flag in the back, I mean, that destroys the mugshot. The mugshot was like the biggest, like the most memeable moment of Trump's campaign, and now we have this that like blows the mugshot away.
Yeah,
Dale, I got the fist pump queued up. Whatever reason it's not sharing. Yeah, there it is. Look at that fist pump. That is the iconic picture of this whole election season right there.
gonna make a great shirt. Just saying.
I don't know why my camera's frozen. Like this is ridiculous.
Well, we can hear you.
What kind of camera are you using?
I'm using a virtual camera, but I've got a USB camera connected to it.
You got to probably disconnect it and plug it back in.
Okay, let me try that. See how that works.
Well, I'll cover the dead air in the meantime. You know, it's funny. I was actually watching his speech tonight, and went downstairs to hang out with my fiance like 3 minutes before it happened. All of a sudden, I'm down there talking to her, and my phone starts blowing up. And I'm used to my phone blowing up occasionally, but there was smoke coming out of it. You know, because just like all of us, we're on multiple group text threads and stuff like that. I start looking at this. So I go, baby, I gotta get upstairs. I gotta see what's going on. And you know, I was for the first hour, I'm just seething. I mean, literally seething. We knew we expected this. I mean, they've been the rhetoric coming out of certain people. You know, Dark Brandon, that speech from 2 years ago with it, you know, red and everything like that. You know, I don't have to go into all the detail about it. Other people have talked about how the MAGA Republicans are like evil and need to be put down. I mean, we've heard the talk. So it'll be interesting to find out who this guy actually was. I mean, the initial reports, and I think I shared the text with you guys,
He's well, they're saying Antifa.
Yeah, but George, I thought Antifa wasn't the real thing.
I mean, look at France, bro. They're just tearing that up. I mean, I put out a tweet or a post saying, is DOJ now going to consider Antifa a terrorist organization?
Well, it doesn't exist. How can they?
Well, it does exist.
Jerry Nadler told us Antifa doesn't exist.
I don't know. When do we believe a politician?
Well,
Listen, I just sent you a video. This is from 2023, the Lincoln Project co-founder, Rick Wilson, where he's stating they're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
What?
I remember, yeah. Play it.
I sent it to you, Brady. I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Is that on text?
Yeah. Hey, you're back, Dale. Worked?
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, I had to do a little
good.
bit of,
Yeah, I've been through that, man. I've been there, done that. So,
but I wanted to show the actual. They have a footage of one of the snipers for the Secret Service taking out the guy who shot Trump, and I'll just pull that up here because then again, it's like, why did this guy take so long to shoot him? This is another question.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
What the fuck?
And you know,
Again, if he saw him, why didn't he shoot him like right away? Right?
So I haven't seen that before, Dale. That he was actually set up with a tripod. So he crawled across this roof, and you guys have seen the redhead guy.
wait, can you put that up again, real quick?
Yeah, I'll do that again. Yeah, sure.
You guys have heard the video of the redhead guy who said we were yelling at the
yeah.
I'll bring that one up as well. I got that one here as well. So this is the guy shooting the shooter. So that's a Secret Service guy right there.
Yeah,
right?
That's Secret Service. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
What the fuck?
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Wow. He waited till after the guy fired shots.
There's actually another guy next to him laying down on a roof. Another sniper, if you see it.
Yeah, I do see that.
Yeah.
So why'd they wait?
That's what I want to know. Like if you see a guy on a roof, you just shoot him and ask questions later, right? Like,
well, if you tell me that they didn't see him crawling on the roof, so whatever, when they seen him, it's going to take them any time to get positioned. So they should have that area covered under the sniper. So they should be radioing in. Hey, is anybody on this whatever corner, whatever the destination, wherever he's at? And when everybody says no, then there you go. You should know already.
well,
But even if you're looking at him and he's aiming a rifle and you can see where he's aiming at, then you should know too to take his ass out.
well, first of all, what's he on the roof for? What's he crawling across the roof for? If some guy's crawling across the roof, you just shoot him. There's no questions asked. He shouldn't be on that roof. The question is why is that roof not even secure? Because I'll play I'll bring up I'll show how close this was, and I'll bring up the guy who talks about it, because this is how close this guy was to Trump. This is insane, right? So you got a guy on a roof 152 yards away from the president, right? There's not like there's a whole lot of buildings in that area, right? So why is that? Like, why don't they have that building locked down, right? Like, when you look at where they're at, this is a disaster. You should never be doing something like this, ever. 100%.
Totally agreed.
No, they should have had sharpshooters on that perimeter too, because That's well in defined of the perimeter in the line of sight. You see, you're showing it right there of the president, and it's really how many yards you said?
162 yards, 52.
Yeah,
Sorry, 152 yards.
152. So
it's not
less than 500 feet.
Yeah, so that's not really, I'm going to say, too difficult of a shot. Let's just say that. Keep it like that.
No, with modern sighting, you don't need a whole lot. You don't need to be a rocket Scientologist to be able to make that shot. You need a little bit of practice.
And I was just, before I came on, I was watching Congressman Ronnie Jackson. He was on with freaking stupid ass Hannity. And he was saying he's commending the Secret Service that it's from the top. No. Hell to the no, because Trump's Secret Service team that are on the ground, that are with him, that go to the sites, they're the ones that are supposed to do the assessments and secure the perimeters and secure the locations. So it's from his team that are with him all the way to the top. They all should be held responsible for this.
Well, the one guy in our corner of the internet who actually has been on the ground with presidential protection is Dan Bongino. And I watch the guy every day. He's one of the very few shows I don't miss. And Bongino's on Twitter right now calling for the head of the SS to resign, like, immediately.
Yeah, everybody is. I know, I've seen it.
But he was calling for that months ago because they weren't giving Secret Service protection to RFK Jr. And I'm not a big fan of RFK Jr., but the guy's a legitimate presidential candidate. He's going to be at a bunch of state ballots. And the Biden administration is denying him protection considering his family history. Are you freaking kidding me? We can't afford that.
That guy should have never got on the roof in the first place.
Yeah.
I deal with risk management as part of what I do. You have to look at, is this possible? Well, yes. Then how do you mitigate it? So when you have so few buildings and like you look at the sight lines and where you're at, there's no reason why anybody should be able to climb up on that roof, because if you were going to try and take out the president, there's only a few places where you could go. All of those buildings should have been locked down with nobody being able to get access to the roof. The fact that the guy got onto the roof, that tells me that someone let him up. There's no reason for that to happen. That is risk management failure. High school kids would have been able to figure that out. Secret Service, you definitely should. I think not resigning, people should be going to prison, because you don't do that with a presidential candidate, right? Not at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I feel like you don't even need like a Secret Service level risk management or risk assessment to figure that out. You're talking about just run-of-the-mill security at like some random event is going to be able to figure out that if somebody is going to set up and shoot at the stage, that roof line was the most obvious option, which is why they had the shooter on the other roof aimed at that roof, because it's like that's the most obvious place that someone's going to do it. And then the guy with the red hat who like the visor, who said that they saw the guy climbing up there and they ran over and told the cops, and the cops are kind of like, what? And they told the Secret Service, and the Secret Service didn't seem to care, or they were slow in their response. I mean, none of it makes any sense. I mean, there's definitely something more to the story.
Oh yeah, let's listen to the guy who was actually talking and trying to wave the guys over when he saw the guy on the roof, because this is insane. 100%. This should have never happened. Like, somebody should have did something when this kid was trying to talk to them.
I love this kid.
You weren't inside the event, but you were just outside. Tell us what you saw.
So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us the Brinkles Farming Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees out there under the shade, and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea. But we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on. You know, we're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. You know, he's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots rang out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, I mean, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh, yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
That's incredibly shocking.
The guy was on the roof right there. You can see the white roof right there.
Did you get a look at him? Could you?
No, other than he was in muted colors, tan type clothing. We saw the rifle flinging around as he was trying to crawl. I mean, we saw the rifle, 100%.
Do you know about guns? Do you know what kind of weapon it was?
Oh, I absolutely know about guns, for sure. I mean, it's a rifle. I wouldn't know, I wasn't close enough to read the label on it, but it was a rifle of some sort. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you process what you've just seen?
I don't know what to say, man. All I'll tell you is, if I walked up close to there with anything that Secret Service considered a problem, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now. But I don't know why a guy who we're standing there pointing out to police and Secret Service is crawling up the roof. Yes, right there by that tree. We were outside the security perimeter. But my question is, there's only a few buildings around here. Why is Secret Service not on every building here?
Well, there's a whole bunch of questions, I think, that are going to come.
There's a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Yes, she was right in front of me. She kept going back and forth right in front of me. Yes.
Tell us about her.
I mean, nice horse, nice lady running with a flag. Seemed very, patriotic.
But what's the significance of her?
No, he asked me if I saw a horse.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm sorry you had to witness that. That was a terrible thing. And you should stay safe with your family and
Gotcha.
Yourself. Thanks for your time.
Man.
So we're on the topic of the whole layout, as you're showing the buildings and everything like that. The first Trump rally I went to was in Carson City, Nevada. We had to drive like 9 hours from San Diego up there through the smoldering forest of Northern California. Thank you, Gavin Newsom, you asshole. But we get to Nevada and all of a sudden there's no forest fires on the other side of the road. Interesting, because they actually take care of their underbrush. We get to Carson City, Nevada, and it's a big event, but it's outdoors. And there's a couple of sight lines, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't have a military background, but I'm not an idiot. I read Robert Ludlum and stuff like that growing up. I can figure stuff out. There's a couple sight lines, and I say to myself, if there was somebody who's going to shoot Trump, that's where that person would be. And then I look around, and the Secret Service was there. They had, there's no way you were going to get that kind of shot, and that would have been probably a 1,000-yard shot. But we're talking about something at, would you say, Dale, 160 yards? I heard it was shorter earlier, but I'll go with your number.
152 yards.
Yeah. There's no way in hell that would have been at the Carson City event. Yeah, that would have been smothered. And I was talking to one of the guys. This dude's like 6'8" and built like a brick shit house. And I was chatting with the dude because we got there early. You're going to drive 9 hours. You're going to get a good seat, right? And we get there early. I'm talking to one of the security guys. He's private security. This is not Secret Service, because Trump's got a ton of private security. And I got to know the guy a little bit. I got him chatting and stuff like that. I was going to ask him questions he's not going to be able to answer. But this guy, these guys know their stuff. And I asked him a question. I go, well, what about that hillside there? How that hill's only like 1,000 yards away. He goes, we're not too worried about that. And he nodded his head and showed me where the sight line was elsewhere. And we're talking about 1,000 yards, not 152. So
I'm just pulling this back up again, right? Like, if you're going to shoot the guy with the rifle, you're pretty much on the best place to shoot him. This is literally the best place to lay down with a rifle and shoot Trump.
It's like a book depository.
So my partner Lance from the show, he was a private contractor, and we were talking, and he was saying that where the shooter was, it defies every security protocol ever written, that this rooftop was not secured. Which, for being 150 yards out and a direct line of sight, it almost have to think that, was this intentionally done with the Secret Service? Because I want to show, because I want to bring up another point to you guys. Do you have the picture of the dude, the Antifa guy?
Yeah, I can pull that up.
Pull it up for a second. And Brady, do you have the picture I just texted you?
I do. I got it ready to go.
All right, let Dale put that picture up, and then hold on.
Okay, so let me get this here, because this is like the damn book depository. Like, this is like basically putting Kennedy in a place where he was going to get triangulated, right? Because you wouldn't do this. You just would not do this whatsoever. So this is supposedly the Antifa guy.
All right, look at that guy real quick, everybody. All right, now Brady, put the picture up that I sent you.
Give me 1 second.
So, yeah. This just screams like you can't do this without help. Like, you just cannot do this. Like, that guy should have been dead 6 ways from Sunday long before he even got, like, you're climbing up on the roof. Don't stop. Really? Okay, well, we're just going to shoot you. Right?
Dale, let that screen share come up if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, look at the dude laying down. That's a shooter. He's skinny. The other dude is fat.
Not the same dude, is it?
No.
Of course not.
And then how did who was it, district attorney of Pittsburgh, whoever, came out with the shooter's name so fast when he's still laying on the roof dead? How did they know his name?
This was set up.
Come on. We're
Gordon,
not
you're
stupid.
Quiet. Gordon, you're quiet. What do you got? Oops.
So I was trying to find the image. So what's really telling is if you look at, you can't check it now because they've updated it, but CNN ran a headline right after saying Trump escorted off stage after falling down on stage.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it. Yeah.
And then, I think it was the Washington Post ran an article saying after a loud noise, Trump was rushed off stage. So, it kind of tells you exactly what you think this all is. It's like they're trying to downplay it. They're trying. Now, of course, they have to go back and talk about it. And now I think CNN's headline is, let me read it. It says, live updates, at least one attendee was killed. The former president says he was shot in the right ear and is fine after what is being investigated as an assassination attempt. Almost like the way they word that is like they're presenting it as like they're questioning, like this is according to Trump. We don't actually know this was an assassination attempt. These people are disgusting.
Oh, the CNN headlines, dude?
Yeah.
They were awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is completely disgusting. Like this, when I look at this, that that somebody was calling for the woman to be resign out of the Secret Service. What's her name? I can't think of it right now. The director of the Secret Service.
I got her name. I got her name right here because I've got Bongino's Twitter pulled up. Her name is Kim Cheedy.
She needs to be arrested.
Cheatie.
As all of the people there that were there to set this up, they need to be arrested. And then they need to be investigated. They need to assign new people to them because at the end of the day, this is so basic that should have never happened. Nobody should have got that opportunity. You look at that guy the picture they have of this guy, and that guy obviously is a skinny kid, and he was shot dead.
Actually, there's a headshot of him, of the kid on the roof. I don't know how they got this shot, but definitely not him. 100%.
Yeah, it's definitely not the kid that like they say it's like this streamer. It's definitely not him because the streamer is like obviously very obese and the kid on the roof is very skinny. But if check the private chat, I found a Twitter post or an X post that has both of those headlines that I just mentioned, like screenshot.
Yeah, I'll pull it up here.
If you want
I just sent it to you, Brady.
Yeah, so that way you can kind of show everyone what we're talking about.
Dale's got it. Can I ignore that?
There we go. So there you go. You got the first one there.
After loud noise.
Right? And you see he's got blood on his face.
After he falls down at rally. It's like, wow.
Really? Like that's
okay. That alone warrants an investigation into both of those organizations because like they had those headlines ready to go, it seems like. I mean, it seems like that's not something you witness what everyone else witnessed and then in real time say, hey, I'm going to write it up like this. I don't know. Like something about that feels very inorganic beyond just the obvious, like this is political and we're going to spin it to our favor because
beyond what they always do.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But we have to look at the larger context here. How did we even get here? Right? Because when you look at all of the steps that have been taken in multiple areas where you look at whether it's the election interference, treason, whatever people were doing in multiple situations, all of these things got shut down at multiple stages because if any of these things got actually properly heard from 2020 forward, this doesn't happen. Every single person that was involved in stifling anybody who is bringing anything forward is directly responsible for this because none of this would continue had they arrested the treasonous activity from the get-go. And they had there's probably thousands upon thousands of instances where this could have been stopped had this got brought forward, but it got shut down by a large amount of people, and every single one of them played a part in allowing this to happen. And then finally, what did they do? They got the Secret Service to come in and do what? Allow this guy to some whack job to get up there with a rifle, climb his way up. And you can't tell me that these guys didn't realize that someone's going up there. This guy's screaming, going, "Look, there's a guy with a rifle. He's climbing up there. He's going across the roof. Like, maybe you should do something about it." And they're just like,
"Yeah, but Dale, where was Trump's very good private security?" Because, like I told you, I met the dude, and this guy was a badass. You know, I'm 6'3", 210. And when I meet a guy, I say, "There's no way in hell I could survive 1 minute in a round with this guy." That's one of those guys. He's a badass. Where was he? Where was all his team? Where's the private security? But you talk about how do we get here? Pull up the screenshot I just gave you. Oh, that's angry Joe Biden giving his Hitler speech. And what's it say? Biden declared Trump is a threat to the country. How often do I have to hear he's a threat to democracy? We have to protect our democracy. How many freaking wars have we done to protect a democracy that doesn't exist? We're a freaking republic. Their language, their vitriol, that's what caused this stuff.
Yes, and a conspiracy of massive proportions, right? And people are like, "Oh, conspiracy theorists." I'm like, you realize that treason is a crime that's impossible to commit without conspiracy. Like, I mean, what? Like, you think that this guy got up on the roof all by himself? If you do, I'll sell you the bridge in Brooklyn and every other bridge in the United States. Like, what do you?
You know what? Something I want to say though. First, I want to say, give prayers out to the Trump supporter who was in the stands that was a casualty that took a shot to the head.
Sure.
Passed. So prayers go out to him and family and his friends. But everybody was putting that video up, saying that he was a shooter, and you're talking about prominent names, even friends of mine. And I replied to them on X. I'm like, that's the person in the stands. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to figure out that person was coming. They were carrying him off from the stands. Like, it's just so people putting that type of content, that BS, is no better anyway. Too, all that stuff. Everybody has to stop that. Or we all make mistakes. I make mistakes and this and that, but everybody wants to be quick to get the post out before they actually really look at what it is, the content. But we all have to do a better job at that too. Everybody does, because it's sickening. And I'm talking prominent names that call themselves journalists and this and that. No, that shit has to stop.
If somebody wants to pull it up, because I can't pull it up right now, because I have to. I won't be able to pull that up right now. I had to use a different protocol. So if anybody wants to pull up that True Social post.
I have it right here. Hold on.
Okay.
Well, yeah. While you're digging that up, let me
share my screen.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I got something fun to share right after Gordon's done.
Yeah. So I mean, this is Trump's truth post from 8:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what's amazing about it is that really the first thing he does is extending condolences to the people who were killed, the guy who was killed there, which is pretty. I mean, it's like pretty good leadership considering that a bullet went through his ear. I don't know, man. Trump's just a badass. I think I can't believe that there are actually people out there who don't support Trump at this point, but I'm sure there are. Those people are scum. They're just bad people.
Did you hear what Biden put out? His comments?
No.
I was just listening to it. Yeah.
The interns that write his texts or tweets or whatever the hell we call them these days, they're terrible. I'm not going to pull them up. It's not even worth the time. It's basically, we.
Well, he gave like a press conference where he was calling Trump Donald, like they're friends. He said he was basically kind of like, he's like, yeah, we don't really know if it was an assassination attempt or not, but he's okay. He's fine. He's going to live. He's fine. Like, just trying to downplay it. I mean, it's disgusting.
It's great. Look, I just seen this. Rep. Stephen Woodrow from Colorado. The last thing America needed was sympathy for the devil, but here we are.
What? Okay, look. Okay, people might sit down and say,
I don't know if you can read it, but there it is.
That Trump might be a lot of things, but should he get assassinated in public? Like, you might not like the guy, right? He might rub you the wrong way, but does that mean somebody should kill him? No. This is how do we get to this point? Right?
Because he's literally Hitler. And if you these are real conversations these people have. If you could kill Hitler in the crib or before he was born, would you do it? That's how they justify abortion, what have you. How do you know? That they've had these conversations, but let me pull up this screenshot, Dale, if you don't mind. I've been having a lot of fun on the betting markets lately.
Did you look at the market today after this?
Yeah, this is exactly what we're looking at. This is the likelihood of who's the next president of the United States, and this is a 24-hour view. So 24 hours ago, Trump was at 59 cents. He bet 59 cents to win $1. Biden was at 26 cents. Kamala was at 20 cents. What happens after they try to take out Trump? He goes from 59 cents up to what's that number? 66 cents. Everyone else dropped. Trump got more popular by surviving this stuff, and that's the fist pump. That's going to be an iconic moment.
Yes.
Here, so here's another one. Senator London Lamar, and then she took this down right afterwards. While I'm praying for former President Trump and hopes he makes a full recovery, the extremism from the MAGA regime has brought us to this moment.
Okay.
Yeah, we're the extremists.
Yeah.
How is this, like, in what regard, right? Like, because who's the one who's always going out and breaking the law, right? It seems to be a lot of these guys that are on the left that are supporting the Biden administration and so forth. These are the ones that seem to be the ones who are committing all of these crimes, right? And so we need to actually, like, call a spade, right? Who are actually doing all of these things, right? Let's call them out, because when I sit down and I look at this, who's running the justice system? Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland's who? A Democrat. Who are they persecuting, right? Like, I mean, you look at Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro. What were they? Jail for what? Not going for a congressional subpoena? What happened to Merrick Garland? Did they prosecute him? No. Did they prosecute Hunter Biden for doing the same thing? No. So what are you seeing systematically?
Well, you left out Eric Holder because he did the same thing.
So you're looking at a systematic amount of people getting punished in a very one-sided manner, right? So you're going to sit down and say that the problem is coming from the MAGA side? You're lying. Stop gaslighting people, right? People need to wake up and see what's going on. If you're supporting, like, you might be a Democrat, but this is not the Democratic Party that you thought it was. This is straight tyranny. It's criminal to no end. These people are all insane. They have no understanding of the rule of law. It's just, well, I don't like you, so I'm going to punish you. This is tyranny, literally tyranny.
Well, Dale, what you're hitting on is to them, the ends justify the means. And they've got this end goal. Whatever their goal is and whatever their followers' goal is, they're all united because, what the Democrat Party right now is, it's a coalition of a bunch of different interest groups, and they all believe that the ends justify the means. And that comes from communist language from day one. This is Karl Marx. It doesn't matter what you have to do to reach your goal. And we kind of come from the place where principles matter. And if your principles aren't consistent, you don't have principles. And that's really what's going on here. They're unprincipled people. They will do anything for power. And we're trying to, we're fighting an uphill battle because we try to do things the right way and they don't. We're going to win because we're right. But man, they've shown their colors. They showed it tonight, what they're willing to do.
You want to know something? So on X, they have what's trending from the liberals is we missed.
Yeah.
Guess what? We didn't. Right?
This says it up a lot. And this is where you have to begin also to start looking like, everybody on the conservative side or on the side of sanity needs to start taking a good look at yourselves.
Yo, I love Elon Musk. Gotta love him. But he put out a thing saying the head of Secret Service and the leader of the security detail should resign. He's a beast. He's getting in on this. Everything lately.
How many followers does that guy have?
Just like 10 or 15 million or something like that.
No, almost 190 million. He's 189.6.
How many followers did Trump have before they kicked him off?
Like 80?
Yeah, I think it was like 80 million.
I thought it was over 100, but what do you think, Gordon?
It could have been over 100. I don't think it was as many as Elon has, but although I'm sure Elon has it set up now where when you create an X account, you probably automatically follow him. I would imagine that's how it was with what's his name, Jack. It was like when you created an X account or a Twitter account, you automatically were following him.
Then you'd have more than that.
Yeah, that might be true. Although a lot of people had their account before he bought it.
What?
So,
What?
like their X account. Like I'm saying, like did Elon get 198 million followers, or did he, or some of those people who created an account and they all, like automatically are following him because he's the owner? I don't know. Although like Elon has cross appeal, like he has cross political appeal. So like there are a lot of people who aren't going to follow Trump just out of pure hatred for him, whereas they would follow Elon Musk because Elon's a little bit more neutral than Trump.
Don't you follow some people you don't like?
Yeah, people follow for sure. I think half people who follow Trump follow him because they hate him, but I also think there's a lot of people who don't follow him because they don't want to deal with it. I don't know.
Well, you're a madman on Twitter. I'm sorry, I won't call it X yet.
Did you see the picture? I guess somebody took the video and broke it frame by frame, and you could see one of the bullets whizzing by Trump.
I got that here.
Pull that up.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna put my glasses back on and pull that up.
Did you see the one with the hole in his ear as well? Like, if he didn't turn his head, he'd be dead. He would have been
Without
dead.
a doubt. Another millimeter, he could have been dead.
Oh yes.
There you go, Dale.
Oh wow. Oh yes.
Now, angles matter and context matters, but apparently that's the bullet that grazed his ear, and that's pretty. We're so close to being.
I don't know if that's the bullet that grazed his ear. Is it?
Well, no, I have no freaking idea, dude. It's a good question, but that's
because I think he got off like 2 shots. If I'm 2 or 3 shots.
Didn't we hear 5?
No, you heard 2. It was 2 or 3 shots from him. And then you heard the shots of the Secret Service or whoever engaging.
All right, so that brings up the question we were talking about earlier. What the hell was the Secret Service guy waiting for? So obviously he had him in his sights. He saw the guy lining up a shot, and he's waiting. I mean, come on. You see a guy with a gun at a presidential candidate rally. You know who the hell he's aiming at. You take him out before he fires, not like 1 second after. He had him in his sights already if he's able to take him out that quick. Am I wrong?
They should have taken him out a long time ago. When the guy was there calling for the guy, saying, look, there's a guy going on the roof. Look, there's a guy going on the roof. He's crawling across the roof. Why did they not take him out then? Right? Like, there's so many places where that guy should have never been on that roof. But yet again, there he was. And this is where I'm like, people need to stop doing what they're doing and start asking the right questions. Like, I hope people understand that this is a real situation. If they're going to just flippantly take out a president in this brazen manner, who else would they not do this to, right? And he's got Secret Service protection. So, I mean, we all got to start thinking seriously about this and how we're going to deal with this going forward, because this just doesn't have like effects on the United States. It's for everybody, because we got the same kinds of people pretty much in every country, especially all the Western ones. So, yeah, I think people need to start praying and need to start acting. That's all I got to say on that matter, because this is shameful, absolute shameful. Yeah.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
Gordon and I do some videos and we talk about how the same people that we're suspecting were behind this attempted assassination of Trump do the same thing all over the world. We're talking about color revolutions and stuff like that.
Oh,
just saw Gordon. What was the last video we did? It was just not Serbia, Slovakia. And
yes,
now we got Viktor Orban. Man, I hope he's got great protection, because he's on everybody's radars. It's everybody. Yeah. And they call these people extreme right wing. No, they're not. They're just anti-globalist.
Yeah, well, it depends if you consider President Raisi's death to be an assassination. And the jury's still kind of out on that. I'm talking about the president of Iran. But yeah, that would be Slovakia. Would have been the last one. to get an assassination attempt. And then you have the Georgia prime minister has been threatened with assassination by multiple EU, European Union officials have called him up and said, hey, you saw what happened to Robert Fico, the Slovakia guy. Like, you're next if you let this law pass. And the law did pass. And the law that they passed was to force foreign NGOs to publish all of their financiers. Like, everyone who donates to them and gives them money, they have to publish everything. And that's a Russian.
It's basically
that's a Russian
foreign agent registration, just the exact same law that we have here in America. They're trying to pass an identical law there. And we're saying if you pass that, we're going to give you sanctions and kill your president.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. To have a Foreign Agent Registration Act, a FARA Act in your own country. And it's happening all over the world.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Turkey is talking about passing a FARA Act, and Turkey and NATO is, well, I'll let Gordon speak on that because he's done a lot of deep dives.
Well, so both Slovakia and Georgia at the time, or like right now still, they're you have a president, you have a prime minister. The president is the leader of your executive, just like in America. Your prime minister is the leader of your legislature. So in both of those countries, the president is left wing. In Slovakia, the president is actually somebody who worked for George Soros for like 17 years, and she actually ran the child trafficking human services division of the Open Doors or like Open Society, like whatever it's called. So you know what that means? Like, that means that she was
state-sponsored trafficking.
Yeah, so that means that she was trafficking kids, of course. And then she left that position to form a new political party in 2017 in order to run to become president of Slovakia, because they were worried about how Slovakia was moving too far right wing. So she wins in 2017. She becomes their president, and then they have last November, they have like this major swing election where their entire legislature goes to the right. And then once the legislature gets elected, they then pick this guy to be their prime minister, who's been very, very chummy with Viktor Orban and Putin. And then he's the one who got this law passed. And so after the law gets passed, that's when they try to kill him. Exact same situation happens in Georgia. Georgia, the country, obviously not the state, where you have a left-wing pro-Soros president, and then a prime minister come in, and the prime minister is just saying all the things that you want to hear. He's like a Trump kind of leader. They passed that same law within weeks of Slovakia, and they're threatening to kill him. So, and then Turkey's kind of the big player right now, because Turkey was one of the early members of NATO. They became a member of NATO in 1952. And the reason that they were a very important member of NATO is, if you look on a map, you'll see that the Black Sea, which is the body of water where Ukraine and Russia have coastlines there. In order to access the Black Sea, you have to go through Turkey, like through the Mediterranean, through Turkey. So Turkey was basically like the gatekeeper of Russia reaching the Atlantic through the Mediterranean. So NATO wanted to make sure they had Turkey as part, like an anchor within their organization. And so we've seen the past few years Erdogan pivot towards Putin, pivot towards Xi. They want to join BRICS now. Erdogan's been like kind of playing all sides. He's kind of been playing everyone, like being pro-Israel, being pro-Saudi Arabia, being pro-Iran, he kind of plays playing. He's been an enigma, but it does appear now that Turkey is pivoting away from NATO, pivoting towards Russia. What we would call, like, the guys that I write with, the Sovereign Alliance, which is like the group of sovereign nations who are standing up to the globalist empire. The good guys, as I would call them: Putin, Xi, Kim Jong-un, MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, all those guys, Nigel Farage, Viktor Orban.
Well, and I'll interrupt there, Gordon, because I don't agree that they're necessarily the good guys, but what they are is they're good for their own countries.
Yeah.
These are not. They care about their own sovereignty.
the good guys meaning that they oppose the people who are trying to establish a one world government.
Yeah. Well,
so
and,
like that doesn't mean that they themselves are like benevolent figures. Like they could have skeletons in their closet. I'm sure some of them do. But like if you oppose a one world government and all the things that like the World Economic Forum are trying to do and like globalism in general, they oppose that and they are trying to not only dismantle, but to completely destroy those people.
Well,
so,
you and I talked about this, 3 years ago, something called the Primakov Doctrine. And it's something everybody listening needs to know about. Primakov is one of Putin's mentors. Yeah, he's a late 90s, 1990s, early 2000s political figure in Russia. And he wrote what's called the Primakov Doctrine. And there's 3 pillars of how he laid out what Russia needs to do over the next several decades to take care of Russia. This is not about Russia taking over Europe. It's about Russia taking care of Russia. And the very first pillar is to get off the, what do you call it? The Anglo-American transatlantic rules-based order, the dollar hegemony. He wanted to get off the dollar hegemony. And the sanctions we've put on Ukraine since the, shall we say, the military action in 2022, what's going on between that and the BRICS? The Primakov Doctrine is being enacted right in front of our eyes. And it's not Russia being aggressive, it's Russia being defensive. They're saying we've been aggrieved upon for so long by this global World Bank system, and we're tired of it. And most of the world is tired of it. And that's what Gordon's talking about.
Well, yeah. With the whole idea of what's going on with this NATO business. NATO's not even being controlled by the will of the people in the West. They're not, right? They're going against what other people, like they're going against what even the laws in their country are doing, right? Because we didn't sanction this kind of nonsense. And if most people understood what NATO was actually doing, they would lose their damn minds because they're engaging in criminal activity and they're inciting war, right? Like they were provoking Russia this whole time, right? Like you look at the amount of biolabs that they had in the Ukraine. Like, I mean, if Russia put those things in Mexico, you think that the Americans would sit idle and say, yeah,
Exactly.
We'll just let you go there and put that there so you can poison us.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's funny is that I was in like a group chat with a bunch of guys, like a bunch of people from Virginia, in 2022 when all that happened, like when Russia invaded Ukraine. And a lot of these guys, there were several guys in the chat who were in the State Department, who worked for the State Department. And we had these arguments like in the chat where I was like, guys, because they were all like, oh, Putin's the bad guy, Russia's the bad guy, like we got to go fight Russia. And I'm like, guys, if Russia was doing to Mexico what we are doing to Ukraine, we would literally take over Mexico. Like we would literally conquer Mexico and not annex it, but we would definitely make it like a territory of ours where we're gonna occupy it like militarily. This is not at all absurd, like what Russia's doing.
Yeah, and like I mean, if you look at what Russia's pulling out of the Ukraine anyway, like I mean, you see a lot of what's going on over here and is consistent. Like I mean, I actually used some of the stuff that Putin was pulling out with respect to the biolabs when I was putting it in my documentation because it was consistent with what was going on here. And you're seeing that they were having poor management of like their biolabs over there, just like they were pretty much everywhere else. Like I pulled a document from that was from 2014 that looked at the WHO and knew that lab leaks were an issue. They knew about this. They knew about all these control system failures and everything that they had lessons learned from the SARS outbreak in 2002, 2003, that they knew were wrong. They used those things knowing full well that they were going to cause damage in order to implement this whole thing. And when you look at what they've done the last few years, it definitely looks like a color revolution. And because of all these different things that they were doing, they're failing. So what do? They go and take out Trump. This is exactly what you expect from a tyrannical government that committed acts of treason to get in there. This reeks of a CIA color revolution done on American soil.
Yeah. Look,
Bingo. Absolutely. It's Operation Gladio at home.
yes, exactly.
And
let me just convey something to everybody, because like a place that people are, for the most part, don't really know what's going on there is Africa. That's kind of an ignored continent for the most part in like the American zeitgeist. This is a scandal that I would encourage everyone to go like research on their own. But the Tongo ambush from October 4th, 2017. This was 3 days after the Vegas shooting, so it didn't receive a lot of fanfare here at home because we were all distracted. But the short story of it is, like, the short version of it is that this platoon of Green Berets was dispatched to a remote part of Niger. They were sent to go attend this tribal meeting without air support and without backup. They're sitting there at this meeting for hours waiting for everyone to show up. Guys aren't showing up. They get a bad feeling. They radio in. They're like, hey, we got a bad feeling. We should get out of here. The Pentagon says, nope, stay right there. Do not move. And they sit there for hours and hours and hours. Eventually, ISIS shows up, surrounds them, attacks them, ends up killing 4 of them, badly wounding 2 of them, and then the other 2 who get badly wounded escape. And CNN and the Washington Post and all those scumbags had articles ready to go, waiting to blame Donald Trump, to blame President Trump for this. They also blamed the Green Berets. The Green Berets end up getting demoted. They end up getting demerits against their record. This mobilizes a bunch of Green Berets to do research and Freedom of Information Acts, and they pretty much exposed the fact that the Pentagon did this. The Pentagon was working with ISIS. They pretty much commissioned ISIS to go kill these guys in order to make Trump look bad. So what we've seen over the past several years since then, and I'm not going to run through this whole thing, but I'll just give you an idea, is we've seen Russia now move into Niger and drive the Pentagon out of Niger. So what was happening in Niger? Well, here in 2015, we have French soldiers working for the UN, kidnapping kids and raping them. And the reason we know this happened is because a UN worker had the report. He ran it up the flagpole to say, hey, this needs to be reported in the public. And the UN guys say, nope, we're not going to report this. So he quits the UN, takes the report with him. Or I'm sorry, he doesn't quit the UN. He gives the report to a bunch of reporters. It gets out into the public. The AP reports it. The UN then puts that guy under investigation. He resigns. And that's how we know about this, that the UN was actually kidnapping African kids, raping them, putting them into sex trafficking operations. And then I'll just show you all this real quick. We don't have to go too deep down this rabbit hole, but this is a white paper that I found. I've been tracking this for a few months. I've been these narratives, really exciting stuff that's happening in Africa between Putin and NATO. Y'all remember what happened to Gaddafi back in 2011, where he was overthrown. He was brutally murdered. His armory was raided. And then,
we had to protect democracy, Gordon.
Yeah. That operation was I don't know if y'all know this. That was actually the very first time that NATO ever did an operation in Africa, was when they killed Gaddafi. The entire operation was predicated on this Al Jazeera report that said that Gaddafi was giving his soldiers Viagra and ordering them to rape women and children, which was later determined to be completely false. It was completely fabricated. But that report is what empowered NATO to say, we're going to go kill Gaddafi. And then, of course, they raided his armory. It was, he had planes, he had tanks, he had bioweapons. They ship all that stuff to Syria, give it to rebels. This is John McCain and Lindsey Graham and the Republicans are giving, and Hillary Clinton are giving these tanks to rebels, and those rebels then become ISIS. And their intention was to overthrow the Assad regime in Syria. So ever since 2011, we've had NATO in Africa operating. And this is a white paper from the UN from back in February. It was written by these people, Anna Caprio and Eric Pichon. And the whole point of this white paper is to talk about how evil Russia is, because they're like, look at what Russia and Putin are doing in Africa. Look how evil they are. But if you run through this, you look at, like, they're talking about how the Wagner Group, you've heard about the Wagner Group. They're the guys in Ukraine fighting the Azov.
Say it right, Gordon. It's Wagner.
Yeah, Wagner. Okay. So
use your Russian accent, buddy.
Yeah. So the Wagner Group has been in Africa fighting all of these different like NATO affiliates, driving them off continent. At the same time, you have Donald Trump with Executive Order 13818, which I have right over here, where back when Trump was in office, he was using Executive Order 13818 to go after this guy, Dan Gertler, who is an Israeli billionaire. Y'all may have seen the movie Blood Diamond back in the day with Leonardo DiCaprio. That movie was about this guy. And I actually have the article right here, which explains that. Let me see where I have it. Right here.
We'll direct them to the video we did on this stuff, so we don't have to do the whole video.
Yes. Right, we don't have to do the whole thing, but basically it's like Donald Trump. It's very obvious now. If I were to run through all this right now, I could prove to y'all that Donald Trump is working with Putin. Putin and Trump are working together. Donald Trump went after their mining rights. He used Executive Order 13818, which says if you're involved in human trafficking, I seize your assets. So he went in and seized all their assets, took away all their mining rights, and then Putin comes in with the Wagner Group and actually drives like their militias off continent. And then Putin, the UAE, and China are now taking over the mineral rights. And the guys who had these mineral rights were using child slaves to like mine the cobalt and the copper and everything. So it's very obvious that Trump and Putin and Xi and all these people are working together. All the stuff that's being put out in the mainstream media about them being enemies is complete bullshit. They're obviously like all on the same team. They all have the same enemies. That should be obvious to everyone by now.
And I'll play devil's advocate and say I don't trust Xi for a second, but I understand where Gordon's coming from, and I think that's a reasonable argument. Go ahead, Dale. I just one of our friends, Gordon, our buddy Ethan, just sent me he's watching right now. Just sent me a really cool video we haven't shown yet of what happened tonight.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we can get that.
Dale, do you want to respond to Gordon?
Well, you can go in and throw it up. I just wanted to sit down and say, I don't necessarily. It's not about trusting Xi. It's about him protecting his own interests, right?
Which is fine.
Right? And so if these guys have guns pointed at all of our heads, well, I mean, we need to get rid of the guys that are trying to kill us all, right? That just makes sense, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I have no problem with leaders of other foreign countries, taking care of their own countries. But we haven't seen this video yet. This was just sent to us by a mutual friend. So I'm going to play it real quick. And it's a little different angle.
And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
What the fuck?
And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
What the fuck?
I mean, it looks like the guy saw the shooter before he shot.
Yes. Why did he delay? But I mean, first of all, okay, if you're looking over on that roof and you've got a scope, you're not just looking in one area. You've got to be sweeping across that thing. And you've got a second guy that is there. You can't tell me that somebody doesn't see somebody moving across that roof.
Yeah. Well, so going back to Xi real quick, you know what Trump, Putin, and Xi all have in common? All three of them, when they came into power, brought their own security and integrated their own security instead of just taking the state Secret Service. Putin and Xi also did that. And one thing that Putin did when he first came into power is he spent the first 5 years going after all of the corrupt KGB agents and arresting them. Xi did the same thing. Xi went after a lot of guys in China who were some bad actors. So there's a lot of similarities in how Xi and Putin and Trump have comported themselves. And I find that stuff fascinating.
Well, yeah, Putin started to try some people for treason.
Yeah.
And,
Igor Kolomoisky, who Brady knows who that is. And of course,
that's my baby.
Yeah. Igor Kolomoisky is the Ukrainian oligarch who was a former KGB agent. He's the guy who created Zelensky. He not only created Zelensky, he also created the Azov Battalion. So he created the Azov Battalion. He also had this television company. He gave Zelensky
not just that. Ukraine had 11 television agencies back in 2014. Ihor Kolomoisky owned 9 of the 11.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Maidan Revolution, which was basically a U.S. State Department / CIA, but I repeat myself, coup of the Ukrainian democratically elected president, that's when this whole thing started. It didn't start in 2022. It started in 2014. And we've got the videotape of the U.S. State Department. That wasn't Samantha. It was, come on, Gordon, help me out here. Who was it on that tape? Newland, Victoria Newland.
Do you guys see? Sorry, they're going to have a news conference at 11:45?
Who's they?
They say the FBI, Secret Service, and State Police to hold first press conference.
Oh,
is that Eastern time?
Yes, sir.
So 7 minutes away. You guys want to stay on for that?
Sure.
I got nothing better to do.
Yeah, if somebody wants to pull it up, we can pull it up and watch it in real time.
Yeah, cue it up, George. Will they show up on time for a change?
How am I going to cue it up for you guys?
I mean, Sleepy Joe Biden, they had to push the press conference back an hour, and he still showed up an hour late. And with love of God, I mean, punctuality matters. It's very unprecedented. I get how Trump...
He had to take a nap before he did that, man. Come on.
I get
this
that.
This is true.
But George, I need a nap too.
Yeah?
Yeah. There's like, at the end of the day, there needs to be some serious questions asked about all of the government agencies, because if the Secret Service who are doing this are allowing this to happen, you got to question that, right? Every single government agency has to be questioned. There's no more assumptions that anybody was doing their job, right? We have to question, and I think that people need to understand that you should only trust the actions of your government that you can see and demonstrate that they're doing what's right. You can't just give them blind trust over everything. That is just sheer stupidity, right? Because you want to make sure that they're doing their job. Because if you give them blind trust, then that opens the door for people with wrong intentions to start doing wrong things. And we can see this happening right now.
So I'm looking at on the news, right? It shows where Trump was standing. The shooter location was to Trump's right.
Okay.
So without a doubt, if Trump wasn't looking, the other way at the big screen, the guy would have had more clear shot. Oh my God.
Yeah, if he hadn't just turned his head at the last minute, I know what my reaction was for the first hour. I was a little bit angry. Can you imagine if it actually hit?
Yeah, so with that being said, everybody, you guys, the liberals out there, you don't want war with us. We don't want war. We don't want any violence or anything. But I'm going to tell you guys the nicest way possible. It won't be a good outcome for you guys. It really won't. I'm letting you guys know. So don't push us anymore. Just don't.
Well, that's exactly what my thought was for the first hour after it happened. I had to take a couple of deep breaths, and I'm prepared for this. I'm pretty sure everyone on this panel right now understands what the worst case scenario is, and we want to avoid that. We don't want to have to do what they're trying to push us to do. Don't push us to do it, because we're the ones who are prepared. We're the ones who have been, ready for this for a long freaking time. Don't make us do it.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is that when I look at these guys on the left, the level of their organization it's extremely high. They give contingency plans for like A, B, C, D, and F to their foot soldiers. Now, if they're giving this to their foot soldiers, imagine what they have for the guys that are actually higher up the food chain. These guys are very well prepared, and overall, we're not anywhere near as equipped. Some people are, but most people are not.
I mean,
And they,
I'm sorry. I'm just like looking at stuff and shit's just coming to thought. Who took a picture of that kid that they shot on the roof? Because clearly he's still on the roof where the police is holding his head. Who took that picture and released it? It has to be one of those officers up there. Since when does that happen?
This tells you exactly what you need to know, right? Like this is what you're looking at.
They're putting the narrative out there. It's like they're making sure that the narrative is out there, the narrative that they want. They want to have the scapegoat. They want to have the guy. It's like, don't look any further than this one guy. Yep.
Yes, and this is where the people on the left, the one thing that they can't do is they don't honor or respect the law. They break it at every turn. This is where we have a huge advantage, and we need to take it to them because we don't want to go to bloodshed because this is what they want. Don't give them what they want, but get them justice, the justice that they're screaming for, because we need to restrain them because they're looking to stop that election, right? They know that. Well, you look at how much Trump is ahead of Biden. Doesn't matter who they put him in, right? You try to take him out. Now you didn't, and his popularity is only going to increase, and they get more and more desperate.
If I was Trump, I'd be hiring private security, get a bunch of Navy SEALs. Call Eric Prince up, get a bunch of them guys. Because if you would look at the Secret Service agents, and this is nothing against women, everybody. I support women in roles if they can handle the roles. But if you look at them, they were all in disarray. Like they were looking this way. They didn't know what to do. One couldn't even holster a weapon right. I mean, crazy. But if you even look at the Secret Service, and the guys included, when they were putting Trump in the SUV, they allowed Trump to stand up on the bumper there and fist pump again. Like, you don't do that. You just shove them in the car and get out.
Yeah.
All right. So let me
because you don't know what other threats are out there.
Because you queued it up. Let me just show it again because I love my betting market charts. Did I show this already? If I did, just shut me off immediately.
You did show the betting charts. Did it go up more?
Did I show you President Trump? The last
24
hours? Yeah.
He went up. Yeah.
Pull this one up, Dale. So this is the last 90 days. You know, this is Biden was at 52 cents. Trump was at 45 cents. This is 90 days ago. This is April 14th. Trump took the lead. Then we have the debacle of his speech. Biden goes collapsing and everything like that. But what happened in the last 24 hours? After Trump, they took a shot at him? Oh, that's before they took a shot at him. What happened after? He spiked up from 59 cents up to 66 cents. That's
we need to get that off of 66, right?
Yeah, and look at the volume on this. Can you? It's hard to see the volume spike. But it's on big volume. Everyone just said Trump won the election. That's what the betting markets are saying. So,
well, you know, Biden is so bad that the left is having a hard time trying to figure out what to do. They screwed up, and this is before today. So they're trying to figure out how to get out of this because they know they can't move forward with Biden. And Trump's the biggest threat. So they want to try to eliminate Trump. This way they can put somebody else in.
It's Kamala. And, you know, I talked about this. It's Kamala. If it's anybody else, it's almost impossible for them to build up any kind of a platform or any kind of a campaign in time to protect the down ballot races. And that matters because if the Democrats lose the presidency, which looks like they're going to, and I'm not going to pull this up right now, but in 2016 and 2020, both Hillary and Biden were up by somewhere around 5 to 10 points over Trump leading up into the election. And we both know that Trump won in 2016 and probably won in 2020.
Probably.
Big air quotes. Big air quotes.
No, he won.
Yeah, of course. But we're talking popular vote here because that's what the polls show us. If he's ahead, which he is by now, 3 to 4 points, the shift is gigantic.
So I got a question for you guys. I like your opinions, especially after today. Trump's VP pick needs to be another fighter, without a doubt. I mean, I don't know who he has in mind. I don't know if now he's going to rethink that. But person I would like to see would be Flynn, which I don't think that's gonna, unless he changes his mind, because I think I know the role they're putting Flynn in. I was told. What do you guys think?
You want to show the betting? Go ahead and talk, and I'll show you the betting markets afterwards.
I mean, you want to make sure that the person that you put in behind him is someone that they're afraid of even more, because they've demonstrated that they want to take him out. And I mean, Flynn is the guy that would go in there and get a job done.
Yeah.
Right? And so do you want to put him at the helm? No. That's what you want. You want a deterrent. You don't want to put someone that's weak or someone who is compromised in that position, because that would just invite people to try and take you out. You have to put someone that they don't
has been through the ringer.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and even more important than that, I mean, imagine what happens if, God forbid, like if President Trump gets in and he gets assassinated. Like, what would the next step be? The next step would be to put the country in martial law. And so you would want a guy like Flynn immediately to become president to be able to successfully do that with competency and with a very, very firm hand. And so I think, to your point, Dale, like that's exactly how, like what you want to do. This bullshit that these Republicans are pushing, like we're going to do JD Vance and, Marco Rubio and all these other clowns. The Republican Party is complicit in all of this.
Well, Marco Rubio can't. Well, here's the thing though. Like Flynn or Rubio, anybody from Florida, unless Trump moves his address to New Jersey, you can't have the president and vice president from the same state that live there.
Why is that?
You have to ask the farmers or whoever put that in.
Is that actually a constitutional law? Or I always thought that was just because of like you don't want it from the same state so you can win different states. I thought that was electoral college kind of stuff.
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Brady, you probably know more about this stuff than you guys.
I think Flynn is from Florida. I think
Flynn's from Florida. Rubio from Florida.
I think he resides in Florida. Like I don't know. I mean, Trump could technically say he's from New York because
he moved his address to Florida,
New Jersey, in a heartbeat because he does.
He can change to New York too if he wants. He can go back to New York.
He hasn't resided in New York in the last. He doesn't want to reside in New York, but yeah, New Jersey he's got.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is that they can't have this like go on, and like it's open season, and they need to shut this down. And this is something that has to get dealt with. So his vice president pick has to be someone that they're terrified. And people have to, talking about Flynn a little bit more, this is a guy that you would want to have, because why did he end up getting persecuted? He got persecuted by his own party. He had to leave. Because why? He loved his country. Why do you not want somebody like that to be the vice president? Do you want another Pence? I mean, that's really all I got to say right there.
Yeah. Well, why is nobody in the Republican Party asking how the hell Joe Biden got 81 million real lawful American votes? That question has not been asked. That question should have been asked every single day by the GOP for the past 3.5 years. And the fact that it hasn't been asked implies that the GOP is complicit in this entire thing.
Of course there are. Like, you watch what's going on right now, even within the grassroots. You can sit down and see that there are people there that are not operating on the right side of things. So why would it be any different where you have the most corruption in Washington, right? Like, it's very clear. When the people came in, a large amount of the people say, listen, we think that there's issues with this election. We want an investigation. The reasonable thing to do was to give them the investigation, because you did things that were unprecedented beforehand. And anybody who looked at the way that the elections were conducted, all you could see was control system nightmares and failures all across the board. The only reason why you wouldn't want investigations is because you were benefiting from them. And when you looked at the level of crime that was used to start those things, well, I mean, of course you want to be looking in. They literally used treason as the justification for making all of those changes because the CDC was committing treason along with the
Hey, they're gonna
NIH
go to the
NARPO.
they're gonna go to the they're having a
Yes.
thing now. I don't know if you guys are gonna watch it.
Where is
back-
that?
Bring it up, George.
How can I bring it up? I got my TV on. I can't do it.
Well, tell me what channel it's on. I'll bring it up.
Every channel.
Hang on. I'll grab it in a second.
Yeah. And so, like, you're just closing that out while he's bringing this up, is that these guys were committing treason to make the changes to the election. So this is why they didn't want anybody looking in. Because if anybody looked in, they would see treason at every turn. Starting with the CDC and initiating the lockdowns on the back of treason so that they could go ahead and do all of this. And then all the different three-letter agencies and God knows who else and all the other people that were profiting off of this, that were working together to accomplish this nonsense, right? Fauci, DARPA, NIH, all these guys.
I think I got. Thanks, Dale. I think I got it. You ready?
Yeah.
Victims of this heinous act which occurred today. This is our community, and I want to let the public know that the FBI has deployed a number of our resources, including investigative agents, our evidence response team, bomb technicians, and we have additional resources coming from other field offices, as well as from FBI headquarters, including our evidence response from Quantico, Virginia. We have intelligence analysts as well, working from our field office in Pittsburgh, working feverishly to attempt to identify the individual who did this and any motives behind why this was done.
You don't know who he is already?
Right now, we need the public's help. Anyone who was on scene who saw anything,
Watch his
any
eyes.
information, please report that to the FBI using either the phone number 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at fbi.gov/Butler. This evening we had what we're calling an assassination attempt against our former president.
Good.
Donald
Say it out
Trump.
loud.
It's still an active crime scene. As I mentioned, we have a number of agents on scene. We also are working closely with other federal agencies, our state partners, and our local police partners as well. Again, at this time, we are not prepared to identify who the shooter is. We are close to that identification, and as soon as we are 100% confident in who that individual is, we will share it with the press.
How do you not know who he is?
With that being said, also, we do not currently have an identified motive, although our investigators are working tirelessly to attempt to identify what that motive was. At this time, I'm going to turn over the podium to Colonel Chris Paris from the Pendleton.
Sorry, just to me, that means they're not done scrubbing the guy's social media yet. I'll continue. But hopefully the ridiculously talented people on the internet have already, figured out who this guy is and have downloaded everything and captured it for forever. But I'll continue.
Pennsylvania State Police.
Thank you very much. My name is Colonel Chris Paris, P-A-R-I-S, Commissioner of Pennsylvania State Police. I would just like to say that the state police have been in regular contact with the governor's office, and the full support and assets of the entire agency are behind the FBI and our other federal and municipal partners to assist with this investigation. The thoughts and prayers of the Pennsylvania State Police are likewise with the victims of this terrible act. We are prepared to support this investigation in any way, shape, or form, and we stand ready to participate in a full, fair, and competent and thorough investigation. To give you an operational rundown, Deputy Commissioner of Operations, Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens, is behind me, and he will discuss the operational portion that's being conducted by the Pennsylvania State Police. Lieutenant Colonel Bivens.
Good evening. So let me describe for you a little bit about the scene that we have over there. As you know, there was a grandstand, a very large area, a lot of people there when this all unfolded. The former president had come out and begun to speak shortly after 6 o'clock this evening. And within about 10 to 15 minutes, a number of sounds were heard, and it became apparent that shots were being fired in that direction. It was a chaotic scene. Law enforcement, I believe, acted heroically, quickly identifying and neutralizing the threat, as well as responding to assist the various victims. PSP had a significant presence on the scene along with all of our federal partners at the time of the shooting. We have since enhanced that presence significantly, bringing in resources from all over the Commonwealth to ensure that we have a speedy, thorough investigation. We are working very closely with the FBI as we work through this. As you can imagine, because of the variety of crimes that have been committed, some are under federal jurisdiction, some are under state jurisdiction. And so, we're working through all of that, not an issue at all. We work seamlessly, but the FBI has maintained the lead on the attempted assassination. PSP will take the lead on the homicide and the shootings of the other individuals in the grandstand area. And so there are a lot of witnesses to be interviewed, a lot of things to be processed. There were some complicators that hopefully the next time we speak, we can describe for you, but some complicators that slowed down some of the processing and the positive identification of the shooter. But know that at this time, we have no reason to believe that there is any other existing threat out there. We are doing everything we can to make sure that this is thoroughly investigated, and that if there is any information developed that anyone else was involved, that between PSP and the FBI, that will very quickly be followed up on. So I think at this time, we would open it up to questions from all of you.
This will be interesting.
Was this a lone wolf attack?
Again, I think it's too early to say that. We have one shooter tentatively identified, but we're not stopping there. We're following up on a lot of information. It will be some time until we can conclusively say or answer that question, I think.
How long do you think that gun was hiding up there? When you saw the snipers up there, as the crowds were kind of rolling in and looked like they had a pretty good viewpoint to check everyone out. How long did that guy been up there?
Again, that'll all be part of the investigation, but
Can you come up to the mic, please?
that will all be part of the investigation. But I can tell you that preliminarily, it appears everything unfolded very quickly. So, again, we'll have more information on that, but it's just too early to start definitively saying this happened at this exact time. And
But it wasn't like he's inside the security perimeter, right? That building he's on is outside of the.
That's correct.
Dale, cut this off whenever you want to.
How far outside of it was it?
Yeah, no worries.
Information for you. It was some distance outside of the.
Colonel, can you comment on reports that there were people who saw someone on the roof and tried to alert authorities?
We're following up on those. I will tell you that I am aware of those, and I am aware that law enforcement had responded to a number of reports of suspicious activity. The specific response to this will be all part of the after action, but yes, law enforcement was responding to check on several suspicious occurrences.
What were the other suspicious occurrences?
That'll all be part of the investigation.
So you said that you're close to identifying the shooter. Could you at least confirm that he is from Butler County, Pennsylvania? Is there anything else? Did he have any affiliation with that company, do you know?
So again, we're not prepared at this time to provide the identity of the potential shooter. We're in the process of doing the confirmation, and once we have the confirmation, we'll release the name officially.
Guys, how can they not know who the shooter was? He's dead. They got the corpse. They know who it is.
Look at his eyes. Watch his eyes. That man is very nervous.
I'll go back to playing it live, but that bugs the heck out of me. How can they not know who it is at this point? It's been what, 5 hours?
I don't think they want to release it yet.
Yeah, because they're not done scrubbing the social media.
Actually, they are scrubbing his social media right now. I found that in the chat. Somebody in the chat posted that they are actively scrubbing the guy's social media right now.
Brilliant. That's why I asked the question. Thank you, Gordon.
Yes.
So,
wait, how did they know they're scrubbing his social media?
Because let me see. Hold on one second. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, I'd like to see this.
The guy's name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. That's his name here. Let me share it. Colin Rugg on X has posted about this. Let me put it. I'll put it in the group chat.
Yeah. Go ahead and do the screen share. I just gave up the screen.
Okay. Hold on.
Thomas. What?
Thomas Matthew Crooks is his name.
TMC.
Here you go. Thomas Matthew Crooks, ID'd as the suspect who shot Donald Trump. Crooks is 20 years old from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, about 40 miles south of the Butler rally. An AR-15 was reportedly recovered. Crooks was apparently shot in the head after he tried to take out the former president. And so, people are saying that this guy's social media is being scrubbed right now. That's what
He looks a lot different than the first guy we saw.
Yeah. The first guy they tried to tell us.
Yeah, this guy's skinny enough to be that guy.
Yeah.
And he does got the same shirt, that gray shirt on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have no. This is the. I don't like this. This
Sean.
What's that?
You showing us a Harry?
No, I think that's just like other posts.
Biggest clown on the internet, Harry.
Yeah.
Screw you, tool. You've got no life ahead of you. You're 22 years old and you're done.
Yeah, and it looks like this guy. It looks like his name is trending on X, #1 trending on X. Look at this. TMZ has a video of this guy, a picture of this guy alive on the roof.
What?
How does this happen? Look at this.
Bring that in. Like, can you make that?
Yeah, you can
full
do that.
screen. Full screen it.
Yeah, let me full screen it 1 minute. Look at that. He's alive right there. Somebody's taking a picture of this guy alive in the prone position with his rifle on that roof.
How do you have a picture of this?
Well, it's just like the guy with the orange hat said with like the fake hair. It's like he's like, we watched him climb up on the roof, and like we were telling the cops, we were telling the Secret Service, nobody did anything.
This is intentional.
Yeah.
This is intentional. This demonstrates why that man's eyes that is sitting there talking about it, you can tell that he is very uncomfortable in doing what he's doing. The man, the special agent in charge, watch his eyes when he was talking. And anybody who goes and watches this, go back and watch his eyes as he's speaking. That man has.
Let's jump back into that, Dale. But tell the listeners who don't know you. You know a bit about psychology, right?
Oh, I've been watching these guys like crazy and tracking their ideology like I rubbed it in their face. I've dealt with these criminals like left, right, and center. This stuff is disgusting.
You want me to hit play? Let me hit play again. Let's talk about what Dale's talking about.
Officially to the press, but at this time we can't give any further information on the potential. No, it's a matter of doing biometric confirmations. So there was no identification on the individual, as an example. We're looking at photographs right now, and we're trying to run his DNA and get biometric confirmation on.
Would you be able to comment?
Bullshit, you know who he was 2 minutes after it happened.
Left behind, any possible devices? Did you find any extra guns? Just anything else you want to comment?
Not at this time. No, we're still in the process of an active investigation. So we'd like to reserve releasing any information like that until we have more facts.
Today, is there any heightened threat level, credible threat level that you guys were aware of more so than what is typical for an event like this?
From the FBI's perspective, no. We did not have any specific threat information related to this event.
Can I ask, you talked about how it happened so quickly.
Hey, guys, where do these guys go to school to learn how to give non-answers? I mean, seriously, they've got it perfected. We'll never answer an actual freaking question.
And we know that there is at least 2 casualties, including the gunman at this point that we're aware of. It could have been a lot worse.
Absolutely.
Are you able to comment more about that and how it was taken care of so quickly?
So I think the credit goes to not only the Secret Service who was on site, but also the state and local partners who were there on site and were able to react immediately when the incident occurred.
Do you know how many officers fired their weapons?
I do not.
This man is lying through his teeth.
A lot of questions, but I mean, is this a failure of security?
Really, at this point, we're not going to make that assessment. There's an active investigation. A lot of things need to occur investigatively to make those determinations of what, if any, failures there were. So really, we can't comment on that at this time.
You can say if Secret Service had checked those buildings or we're keeping a close eye or.
Really have to defer to Secret Service for those.
Lying.
At the AGR property prior to the event.
Fine, get Secret Service up on.
So you have 2 critically wounded people still.
Wait. I'm going to defer to Secret Service. Fine, get them up on the fucking microphone. Excuse my language. Get them on the freaking microphone right now. Tell me why they didn't do their job.
No, he's lying. This is impossible for anybody to do their job. There's only one place that you could have for people to shoot somebody in that regard, and you tell me that you leave it undefended. The only place that somebody with a rifle could sit down and get that vantage point to shoot the president.
Oh, and by the way, that was a hell of a shot. To miss by 2 inches, that is a marksman. Look, I may have shot a gun once or twice. I can't make that shot. Whoever made that shot is good.
Yes.
George, I'm pretty sure you picked up a gun before. Could you have made that shot?
Sure.
Okay. I probably couldn't. I couldn't have. My miss would have been, my window would have been about a foot or 2. He got it within 2 inches of accomplishing his goal. That's a great freaking shot.
The only reason why he didn't accomplish the goal is because Trump moved his head.
Did you see where the pictures where it shows? I mean, it looks like a bullet hole in his suit.
Did you see the hole in his ear?
But I guarantee Trump's going to show that to us as soon as he's ready. He's going to wear it like a badge of honor. I mean, that was real blood.
Well, because I saw a picture of him after he got shot through his ear, and you can see where the bullet went through his ear. Like if he didn't turn his head, that bullet would have been in his head.
Yeah, Dale, like I said, 2 inches.
But
I'm changing history.
Hold on, I'm going to send you the picture.
Go ahead and text it to me. I'll pull it up in a second. Yeah, Dale, you want to watch any more of this press conference, or have you seen all you need?
No, this is all I need. Like the guy's lying through his teeth. It's very clear. And he's covering for these guys. He's probably scared that the guy didn't finish the job and he missed. Right? Because it's easier to clean it up when the guy's dead. But Trump lived. And I mean, now there's more questions that are going to be asked. Right?
Well, the question is who's going to ask the questions? Anybody who actually wants
Coming to you, Brady.
Yep, I'll pull it up in a second, buddy.
Well, this is where the people have to start asking the questions, right?
I mean, you're going to trust the FBI to do a thorough investigation and actually report on actual facts? I don't.
No.
Don't make me laugh like that. Hey, so while I'm waiting for you, George, is... what
do you mean waiting for me?
I was going to ask you guys a question. You're talking about the VP pick.
Oh.
And let's go back to that real quick, and then we'll jump back into the subject. Do you guys know how many VPs have jumped from the VP and then won the next election in American history? Any guesses?
Not sure. Few of them.
Wait. What was the question? I'm sorry. What?
You're the VP. You're vice and you're president. It doesn't run. You run to replace him. How many times has that VP won?
Well, you had Bush that did it. You had
Bingo.
Biden that did
Nope.
it.
Nope.
No, he didn't win right after.
Uh-huh.
What was?
You've got to go back to.
You got Bush from Reagan won.
Yeah, that's the one in.
Win one for the Gipper.
Okay, that's the one. That's the one that Dale is talking about. You actually have to go back to 1841 for the last time that happened. That's John Tyler who took over for William Henry Harrison, for a vice president taking over for a president that didn't die in office. So when you start talking about Trump's VP pick, you're not talking about a guy who's going to be the 2028 candidate necessarily, because it's very unlikely that's going to happen. So what are you talking? What's a VP actually do?
Okay, so the president can actually give the VP more, I'm not going to say authority, but more direction to handle other things.
Oh, yeah, like our borders are?
Well,
come on.
That's her. That's them.
Okay.
But
So-
if you have a good let's say, for instance, let's say Flynn's in there. There's more he could do.
Wouldn't you rather have Flynn in a position where he's actually active? The VP really doesn't have a whole lot of authority or power. It's not that big of a deal. But since we're talking about it, let me pull up the.
Well,
betting.
I'm looking at it like this. For the stuff that's been going on between Obama, right, with Clinton, and then now Biden, hopefully after 4 years of Trump, that people are actually going to see. Because remember, it's only 4 years. You're talking about presidents that have been 8 years in full, not 2 terms back to back.
No, so for the most part, yeah. But
so now this is different though. But this is only 1 term for him coming up. His second term, but not back to back. So yeah, it does make a difference actually in that sense too.
Maybe
because you also want. I
Hold on
don't
a
think
second,
it's going to take more than 4 years to fix our government from everything. So you need a person that's still going to be able to make sure to keep fixing it and keep it that way.
Traditionally, you may not have a VP that has a lot of power, but I mean, if you had Flynn as a vice president, then you would probably have Trump conferring with Flynn a lot on how to direct things, because if you had him as a VP, then he would have a lot more access to him and he would speak with him a lot more regularly on how to direct things. And so that you would have But
Dale, can he do that as a DOD?
He's going to be
but
he's going to be the NSA.
Fine.
But he's also going to
be totally happy with that, George.
But he's also going to stand as a deterrent, as you don't want to take him out, because if you put Flynn at the helm, these guys are all dead faster than if Trump was there, because he doesn't have to convince Trump to do these things. Flynn would just go in and do what needs to be done. The guy has he was a general with intelligence background. He knows exactly how to deal with these guys. That is not the guy that they want to have putting at the helm. They will never put a bullet in Trump. The only how they try to do anything is if they could take them both at the same time, which would be a lot more difficult if you're very strategic about it. But Flynn could oversee a lot of other things in the role as a VP and help direct Trump and give them a serious reason not to try to take him out, because I'll tell you right now, a guy like that is not the guy they want in the helm, because they would piss themselves.
Well, share my screen real quick, and we'll talk about what the betting markets are saying about the VP. And then, George, I'll show your screen pics. So right now, the betting markets, and this is, once again, this is predicted, bet 43 cents on J.D. Vance. Burgum's down to 23. Rubio, Tulsi. You gotta pull up all the more contracts. Mike Flynn isn't even registering here.
All those people are losers. I don't want any of those people anywhere near the VP office. Like JD Vance has literally talked so much shit about Trump. He said that Trump was a scumbag. It's like, dude, I don't want any of these people anywhere near the White House. I don't trust a single member of Congress, including Matt Gaetz, including any of those people. I don't trust any of them. So I don't want anybody who has anything to do with DC. I want either General Flynn or I want Colonel McGregor. That's it. Anybody else, throw it out the window.
How about my boy Eric Prince?
Maybe.
I want him in the administration because he knows where he knows where bodies are buried.
Yeah, you would. I mean, based on everything else, you want a guy with the experience to like be close to Trump to give him the direction that he needs, and you need somebody that they're terrified of.
Hell, I'll take Roger Stone.
No.
I would take Roger Stone over any person in Congress. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I mean, Flynn would be the ideal candidate because of what he can do and what he represents. Because these guys are terrified of him, right? They're terrified.
I assume every person in Congress is compromised. I assume there's blackmail material out there. I assume that there's something out there, and that's the only reason they're actually in Congress is because there's compromising material out there somewhere, and that's why they're in Congress.
Well, yes, and you want the people that aren't afraid, right? Like you want people that just don't care, right? There's some people that you get to the point like, oh, well, you got compromising stuff. Well, who cares? I don't care, right? Like, I mean, because nobody's perfect. Right, but it's like, at what point do you bend over and take your country? I would personally, I'd rather destroy myself and take one for the team and not let the country go down. But some people don't think that way. Right?
Brady, where was Tulsi Gabbard in that list? Curious.
Let me find it real quick. Hang on a second.
My thought is on this is, that short list that they put out, Trump's VP short list. I think I don't know. I think it's a rouge. I don't think it's any of them.
For sure.
I hope you're right. To be honest with you, I hope you're right.
I mean, the list is like it's like a Fox News. It's like Fox News putting the list out, or the RNC putting the list out. I mean,
well, Gordon, you're the right guy to ask this question to, because one guy who has been pleasantly surprising is Glenn Youngkin, and he's high on the list. And you want to talk about 2028? You're
loser.
From Virginia. He's a Virginian. What do you got?
He's a loser. He's a big fat loser. Yeah. The guy's a loser. Look, I was a little enamored with him. I mean, I was the big anti-Youngkin guy during the campaign. They did to what's her name? Amanda Chase.
Yeah.
Amanda Chase
I remember this conversation.
Amanda Chase was Trump in heels. That's what Virginia media called her, was Trump in heels. She's a badass. The one knock on her that people like around Virginia told me, like people who are connected told me, is that she doesn't get along. Like she basically went into the Senate, Virginia Senate, and was like so abrasive that she didn't make any friends. And so they're like, dude, you can't survive politically without any friends. Like even Trump like went into DC and made friends. So like I understood that, but they literally rug pulled her. They like changed the rules of the convention in order to give Youngkin the nomination, just like they did with Bernie Sanders and Hillary in 2016. But then Youngkin got in and he did a bunch of things where I was kind of like, all right, well, maybe Youngkin is good enough. Like he doesn't have to be super MAGA. The thing that really gives me pause though on him and Miyares, because Miyares is like this guy from Cuba who his mother's family were all taken into a soccer stadium and executed by Fidel, by Castro. And so he's like talking about how much he hates communists and he wants to purge America of all communists. And so it's like, all right, well, this guy might be decent. These people have never once promoted Donald Trump. You'll remember that Winsome Sears, the lieutenant governor, came out and said that Trump is done back in November. She was like, Trump is done. He needs to walk away and be done with politics. Trump came and gave that rally last month in Chesapeake. Miyares actually put out a post on on X about Chesapeake and didn't even mention the Trump rally that was in Chesapeake. It's like, dude, I cannot even convey how much these people do not like Donald Trump, and they do not like what Donald Trump represents, which is all of us. So Youngkin is a Carlisle guy. He's a Carlisle group guy. He's a bushy. Yeah, man, he's a loser.
There's a reason I asked the question. You're the guy who's got the info. You're on the ground there.
Yep.
One thing that we have to take in mind, and even though it doesn't look this way, we're at war, and every place inside of the government, every courtroom, every institution is a battleground. It may not be a physical battleground, but it is a polemical war nonetheless. And you have to take into consideration when you're putting people into positions, you're literally having a war. You're trying to get rid of the criminal element inside of each area of the government. So you have to think about it as you're going to put people into these positions. You need people who are going to be able to strategically take over situations and get rid of the dirty guys and fill them in with people who are going to do the will of the people. And this is what you're going to be doing back and forth over the next little while until they get this thing sorted out. It is like, I mean, we have to rethink the way that we're looking at all of the institutions because they're all battlegrounds. Yeah, that's.
Well, let's talk about that. George sent me a couple of pictures. Let me just share this screen real quick.
Yeah, it reminds me of that song that Tupac did after they tried to kill him. Right? That just comes to mind, where he says, "You punks tried to shoot me, but you still couldn't finish," or something like that. Yeah.
All right, what do you got here, George?
So if you look at that, that's allegedly a bullet hole in his suit jacket.
Okay.
And the next one is a close-up.
Let me pull up the other one. Give me a second. I'm not quite sure how to get rid of this one.
That's why I ain't doing it.
I'll stop my share to make it easier. And here's the second one. And that's the close-up of the jacket. So what this is suggesting is you got shot twice. Are we talking about magic bullet here? Are we talking JFK? What do you got, George?
I'm just showing you what the pictures came out. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but so usually they have they're wearing bulletproof vests. Even Trump would be wearing one. I don't know if that's real or not.
Let's just bring that first picture back up.
Give me a second. I got it. Hang on.
And I know we're going to probably have people that are going to show where the trajectories were for the bullets, because if you're looking at where he got shot here, right, which is right near his chest, and look at where he got shot in the ear. If you look at where his head was turned when that got shot, where is the trajectory coming? Would you be able to make that kind of shot and that kind of shot with his head turned like I don't know what would?
Well, his body was turned a little bit too. So, but yeah, because that's all on the same side. So why not?
Did the first shot come from somewhat behind him, hit his ear?
No. Huh?
It was from. So if we're looking at him from, let's say he's holding up his right arm there. So the shot came from off to his right.
Yeah.
All right.
No, let's bring that up right again here. Let's look at this, because I'm looking at this. Let me bring this up again. I'm just curious. There you
Did
go.
it come from his right? I don't mean. You know what?
Okay.
It's off to his right. Man,
Yeah, because if you look at the one picture, that bullet where they took it from the frame, it was behind him. So yeah.
Yeah, it's his right.
So if you look where his elbow was, yeah, that can certainly be a shot in the jacket there, in the chest.
Well, it didn't hit. Well, okay, you might be right. There may be a bulletproof vest in play. I'll buy that. Now, he's a pretty big guy already, and he's lost a lot of weight in the last 4 years. I figure the guy's got to be down 20, 30 pounds. Good for him. You know, he's a great golfer, and he's always been a good athlete, but he's been carrying a little extra lbs.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, let him live.
Hey,
well, does it look like
the guy?
The question is where he gets shot? Like, okay, you see his hair, right? Now, he just got shot. Did he get shot again here now, or where did that other shot take place?
Well, if there's a second shot,
there's like 2 or 3 shots coming from the shooter.
If there's a second shot that hit him, we're talking about a serious marksman, because that's not easy to hit 2 things in the target from that range. That's not easy. You're not a sniper at 150 yards, but you're really freaking good. I can't make back-to-back shots like that, and I'm okay.
So you're trying to basically attempt a headshot, and then one at center mass. Like, those are kill shots. Like, kill shots. Within, like, you make 3 shots, and 2 of them were like kill shots.
Yeah, that's what we're talking. This guy was actually 20 years old. Is that good of a shot? It's possible, yeah.
Actually,
I'm just telling you right now, and I'm not a rookie. I couldn't make that shot. Not 2.
They actually talked about, like, some of the, like, with the video games and stuff like that, when guys play, like, a lot of those first-person shooters, it actually really increases their hand-eye coordination to a ridiculous degree. Right?
Yeah, well, I played basketball growing up, and that increased my hand-eye coordination. I still
So
couldn't.
it says that I'm looking at the picture. Trump stage where he was there. The shooter was, if Trump is at 6 o'clock, the shooter's at like 3 o'clock.
Okay. Now, well, if I'm looking at Trump's at
if Trump is at 6 o'clock, if you're looking at the clock.
Okay, well, I'm doing reversed. I'm looking at Trump head on, so he's at 12 o'clock. So the shooter's at 3 o'clock.
No.
Well, I'm looking at Trump.
If you're looking at Trump head on and he's at 12 o'clock, then the shooter would be at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, okay, 9 o'clock is correct.
That's why you're not a good shooter right there, because your calculations.
No, that just means I'm not good at math.
Well, whoa. What do you think shooting is? Calculations.
But based on that video, that, like, where the hole was on the jacket, it would have been like that could have come from the same.
No, that hole in the jacket's here.
Yeah.
The headshot's here.
Trump was turned at him, so he was turned looking this way. So it's like if bullets are coming from over here,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're not, George. We're not going second shooter here tonight.
No. I just wanted to see where, like, how.
Actually, well, they said that if you know, they said in the conference that
they're not ruling out that he was part of something bigger.
But they said there might have been shots from other directions. That's what they said in the conference.
Maybe.
Well, this is where I'm saying is that you saw the hole is where it was, but we don't know exactly you see it on his jacket, but that's really it. Like, you want to know exactly where it came from. It looks like that, but we could be wrong. We could be right. The one thing is that you just need to take a good look at it to make sure what was going on. And with them saying not a lot right now, and the way that the guy was talking tells me that they're probably not going to be very forthcoming with anything.
Brady, just so you know, a bunch of my mods are in the chat here in Rumble.
Yeah.
Farmer J 1966.
Hey, what's up, dude?
He said he could have made those shots, and he's had 2 strokes. So that says a lot about your shooting, bro. Go Farmer J. Make farmers great again, I always say. Make farmers great again.
So I come out trying to be humble, and they're gonna rip on me. You got a great chat. That's why I hang out with the Big Mig Show.
Well, listen, you know how it is. You're gonna come in my world. You gotta be able to take it, bro.
Hey, it keeps me humble, man. So I need some humility.
Yeah, it's all right. This is something that we need to, question, and everybody who can overlook this stuff, figure out what needs to be done, because I don't trust any of these agencies to do their job. I really don't. If they let this happen, clearly there's a serious breakdown in what's going on and so forth. So that lets you know. I think that should let the entire world know that all of these agencies are 100% corrupt, right? If you're going to have a president that, like, I mean, they pretty much gave that shooter the opportunity to shoot fish in a barrel to go and shoot Trump. That's essentially what they did.
Hey, Dale.
I still can't believe it wasn't part of security protocol. Their security protocol, I should say, to secure that area.
I want to throw something out there. We said these agencies are 100% corrupt. I think it's an important point to make. Most of the government agencies have no constitutional right to exist in the first place. You can make the argument that we need an FBI, but that's fine. The Constitution doesn't allow it. Pass an amendment that creates the FBI because that's a standing army. That being said, I think all of us here know people who've worked for a lot of government agencies that are straight shooters.
Yes.
I'm not going to say they're white hats or black hats. What happens is the people at the top are political appointees, and they're the gatekeepers. And
yes.
these are the people who determine who gets advancement. And they've politicized these agencies to such a degree. And it's not necessarily Republican or Democrat because they're for the fourth branch of government that was never created. The fourth branch of government is the administrative state, which just got bitch slapped by the Supreme Court in the last couple of weeks. Thank you very much. But at the end of the day, most of the people that work for these agencies, most of them go in for the right reasons.
Yes. No, I wasn't saying that they were all 100% corrupt in every agency. I mean that every agency has corruption in it.
Absolutely. Right? And it's it's because they're political appointees. And the shit flows downhill as it always does.
Like my sister worked for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and they're literally like the Trudeau's brown shirts. And I know I had RCMP that actually helped me, that took information to investigate. They got rid of them and put in a corrupt person because the guys at the top don't want that happening. I get it. There's a lot. I think most people go in, like you were saying, to do what was right, but the guys that are there that make sure that you can't. So
they're actually saying Biden spoke with Trump after the shooting.
Really?
That's what they're saying on Fox.
Hey, Trump's going to have to go on stage, come up and make some kind of a speech sometime tomorrow. I don't know what he has scheduled. Do we have Trump scheduled tomorrow? But he's going to come out and say something.
Oh yeah, no doubt. He's got to let the people know.
Oh, he'll have a little Band-Aid on.
You know what amazes me though? I'm looking at after Trump, he gets hit and then the Secret Service jump on him. All the people just sitting there looking they're not ducking for cover.
Well, go show it again. I thought by the way, George, I thought the coolest thing is Trump was fighting against the Secret Service. He goes, no, I want to go back up on stage. I want to keep talking. Because that would have been a freaking really cool move.
No, they would never allow that.
Well, of course they can't. It's a security issue. But he wanted to.
I don't know if he wanted to keep talking. I know he wanted to just, let the crowd know he was all right.
Yeah, he stood up and pumped his fist. That picture is going to be iconic.
Yes, that definitely will be. See if we get back. Find the.
Let me get my shoes. You gotta love him. He wanted to get his shoes. He says. Let me get my shoes. He goes again.
Well, you saw the first guy took him down. The guy was right behind him. That guy was quick. The rest of the guys were slow.
He took him down, or Trump was going down himself.
I think the guy took him down. You want to show it again?
Show it again. Slow mo it or something. I think Trump started.
I don't have it queued up.
I'll pull this here up here.
I think that first guy got him quick.
But then I didn't even realize it. The crowd started chanting USA after he fist pumped.
When when he got taken down?
Okay, can I watch him? He gets hit.
Gets hit here. Watch. He's going down. What Secret Service guy?
Okay, play it through. Watch it. Watch how quickly the guy gets there. The first guy got there really quick. Or I could be totally wrong.
No,
I've only watched it like 10 times.
He sees that, then he starts going down.
Play it through.
Play it through.
Yeah, it is. It's just a short loop.
We need the full loop too.
Yeah, I'll get the full. Grab the full video. But there, it looks like he starts going down himself.
Freaking Canadian give us half the loop. That's ridiculous. Damn Canucks.
Yo, didn't we just say we need to stop with that rhetoric? Leave the Canadian alone, bro. It's not his fault. He lives with a freaking liberal that's ruining that country.
We need to build 2 walls. We need a northern wall too.
We can't even finish wall 1, bro. You want to build wall 2? Can we finish 1 first?
Just
listen. A lot of stuff comes over the Canadian border.
Hey, Game of Thrones was right about some things.
Yo, what's going on with Canada, man? They're building like they're doing like what's that movie?
Canada's a third world country right now, man. I'll tell you that right now. There's
stuff coming across the border from Vancouver, from China. More fentanyl comes in from Vancouver, BC, than comes in from Mexico. And the reason real estate prices are ridiculous in that part of Canada is because all the Chinese money laundering has to put it into something. The Chinese own most of Western Canada. It's ridiculous what's going on there.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Thank you.
Oh wait, we got to see this. We got to look at this one. We didn't get to see this one. You'll see I got a picture of the shooter as well, but
so one of my mods, Rat Dog, said it's like they're not gonna do any more events like outside, and I said, nah, Trump's not gonna let that happen. He's gonna keep going. I said they can put bulletproof glass in the front, protect them.
He'll go bigger and he'll go badder.
Yeah, or just like have like real Secret Service who actually know how to set up a perimeter and do like risk assessment, and aren't like a bunch of women. I
wouldn't listen. He's got money. The campaign's got money. They can get Eric Prince's guys involved, hire the SEALs.
Trump's always had his own security. I mean,
I told you.
Even when he was in the White House, he had his own.
I met one of these guys. This guy he was a serious dude, and he sharp as a rat. Just sharp as a tack. And I was asking questions because I can only answer some of your questions. I go, that's fine.
Can you guys see that? There's the hole in his ear.
Is that a hole? It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's a hole.
Yeah.
Dude,
I think
that's still like close.
Yeah.
Half-inch from him being dead, man.
This whole conversation would be much different if we're a half-inch different.
Yeah, you can see it.
I'll be honest with you, bro. I wouldn't be on here if it was different.
Yeah, me neither.
No, I think I'd
grab my go-to pack and let's just leave it there.
Yeah, we'll leave it there.
Yeah, that was him. And let me pull up this other one here where it shows the actual shooter. They got a picture of the shooter. And the guy was not kidding when he said he got his brains blown out.
Graphic warning, I'm sure.
I don't know. I'm still baffled at how this picture, which police officer on that roof took that picture and released this.
Yeah,
it's a great question, George.
Yeah, that's the shooter. Yeah,
just like we got the Mar-a-Lago document raid pictures somehow released.
Well, I don't know why they put that guy's face up there like that.
Somebody wants the narrative out there. Somebody wants the narrative out there that this kid did it and that we shouldn't look any further than this 20-year-old kid. And yeah.
Unless somebody.
Do we have his name, Gordon? The kid, 20-year-old kid now?
Thomas Matthew Crooks is his name.
Okay, that's the one we already looked at. His social media's already disappeared.
Yep.
All right. The fat Antifa guy, just nothing.
I don't think he had anything to do with it. He might have something to do with it, but I don't think he. I mean, he obviously wasn't the guy.
I mean, he had like disturbing video up though.
Yeah. So he could.
I'm sure they're looking into his fat ass now, though.
Yeah, his fat ass wasn't on that roof though.
Oh.
Okay,
he wasn't doing the bear crawl.
Yeah.
No.
Well, so we got the.
So we didn't really see the bear crawl, but that's actually not. That's somewhat of a sophisticated tactic. I mean, anybody can do that if you're relatively fit, but this 20-year-old kid knew how to do that with a rifle. It's not easy to do. Are we going to assume he's untrained?
Yeah, he's from Pennsylvania, bro. They hunt a lot and stuff, so you know.
Okay.
So this is the video with Trump. So we'll see about who brings him down.
And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Yeah. Looks like he goes down by himself.
If you notice, right before the shot, right?
Show it again.
Hold on, but before you do it, stop for 1 second. Leave it up there, but just stop. If you notice, before the shot, he turned his head looking forward to the crowd, and then he turned back to the right, and that's when the shot went off. So, I mean, if you can't tell me that God was looking out for that man.
Well, he turned towards the sound, right?
No. You know, listen, when they had the monitor up, and he was talking about what's on the monitor, he looked to the right. But then he looked back forward to the crowd, and then when he looked back to the right, that's when the shot went off. So the shooter is probably thinking he was looking still straight. But, you know, Trump turned his head at the...
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. We got lucky.
Hey, Brady. Brady, I got a bolt. My kid's waking up, so...
Yeah, it's getting late, too. I got to get going, too.
Yeah, you want to wrap it up, Dale?
Yeah, we can wrap it up here. I mean, we saw the video and so forth, and this is something where everybody's going to remember. I mean, we'll get everybody to kind of just go around and give their closing thoughts, and then I'm going to close it out with a prayer, because we're going to need some prayer going forward, because Lord of mercy, this is treason in your face. So let's get some final thoughts from everybody.
Gordon, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, final thoughts are, I mean, either this was staged, which I've seen people talk about, like this is like a staged thing, which I can't really imagine that would be the case, or the Secret Service were complicit in this, because I'm looking at I was just kind of looking at some of the stuff on X while we've been talking, and there's some people putting up some pretty compelling analysis, similar things what we were talking about, where they're just saying this is a joke that this was allowed to happen. Like, there's no way that this kid climbs up on this roof and crawls all the way up with a long rifle and gets a shot from 150 yards away, which is an easy shot for anybody with training. So yeah, it's like
somebody better than me.
Yeah, so it's like either this is all staged and this is like part of some sort of op that's being run, or Secret Service was in on it and they are complicit, which is pretty dark. So, yeah, prayers for sure. I guess we'll figure it out, but something stinks, though.
George?
Well, thank God President Trump is alive and safe. I'm happy it didn't go the other way, because we don't need any more deaths anymore. We don't need violence. We want peace. And let's hope it stays like that. You know, we gotta keep fighting, bring the information out there, because we are the news, not them anymore.
100%.
You can find me on the Big Mig Show on Rumble. Yeah, Brady.
Right.
Well, it's awesome to hang out with three good friends tonight and then talk about something pretty freaking important. And I think we did a pretty good job from a bunch of different angles. So cool hanging out with you guys. We'll have to do this, get this group back together again sometime. This was done on short notice with absolutely no impromptu. What happened tonight had a chance to be much worse. And as George said, thank God we did not have to go down the path that something worse would have led us down. There's a lot we don't know about what's going to go on. We've got our suspicions. At the end of the day, we've got to fix this damn country so this type of stuff doesn't happen anymore. Fix your county, fix your town, start local, then we fix the country. We do what we can, and God bless everyone. Thank God Donald J. Trump survived this, because the alternative would have been very ugly.
Oh yes, and I agree. You know, I'll sit down and say, I know that things were done wrong. This was risk management failure. There's a lot of people that are within those government agencies that were tasked to making sure that didn't happen, and it happened. And people need to be held accountable. And we need to start rethinking about things going forward, because this is a stark reality. We have to look at the evidence in front of our face, right? We have to pay attention to that. There was a massive breakdown, and people are responsible for that. So we got to sit down and face facts, face reality, and figure out where to go from here. And we need to stop, fighting over nonsense and pay attention. Your country's going down. The entire world is going down. And there's no more time for passengers. Like I say, we got to fight for our families, our communities, our nation. But I think a lot of this comes down to people need to start turning back to God for courage, because the one thing I can sit down and say in common, that most people who are standing up, they have faith, family, and they have a sense of community. And these are things that we need to start to get back to, because these are pretty much all Western societies were built upon this. And this is especially, articulated in the founding documents in the United States and so forth. And so, I tell people, if you lack courage, go to God. Gideon was a coward. He was hiding in the wine press, threshing his wheat and his grain, and God fixed his cowardice. So, keep things simple. Just, figure out what you need to find out, why you need to get up and fight, and do it. Find a way to get involved, even if it's bringing some of the guys on the front line a glass of water, whatever. I don't care. Just do something. Don't be a passenger anymore, right? And thank God that Trump didn't go down, because there'd be a lot more chaos in the streets had he not. So I think that's some divine providence that didn't happen. And so we should be thankful for that.
Trump just arrived. He's getting off Trump Force One in New Jersey, coming down the stairs.
You got video of that, or you want me to pull it up?
I don't have the video. I was just looking at it.
That was a great sign off, Dale. If you want to close this out, or let me just see if I can find it in 2 seconds.
Okay, if you can pull it up, then we could do that. If not, I'll just close out with prayer, and then
go ahead and close with a prayer. And
okay,
if I can pull it up, we'll show it. I don't see it yet.
All right. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. And we thank you for preserving the life of Trump and keeping the country from going into complete chaos. And Lord, I ask of you this day to watch over him and his family during this time, and the families of the people who were also injured, and the man who lost his life and his family, watch over them. And Lord, I ask of you this day to watch over the people. Help us to do what is right and pleasing in your sight. Grant the men the strength to stand up and help all the women in this fight, that they would lead their families, their churches, and their nation back to a place where they could have some peace and prosperity until we see you coming in the clouds. And that these evil ones will be brought to justice is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And I've got the video. I'm going to go ahead and share it.
Yes, let's get this up here.
And then we're going to end it. Our prayers are answered because the man is alive. And
Yes.
here he is coming off the plane. And
Secret Service looking at what happened here. Did we have, and again, I don't want to speak because we don't know what's going on, but again, how did this happen? What assets were requested by the agent on the ground? Were the correct assets?
All right, so there it is. The man is fine.
God bless you all. You all have a beautiful night.
Dale, thanks for hosting.
See you tomorrow on the battlefield.
Great hanging out with all you guys.
Thank you guys all for coming.
Cheers.
Bye.